Hello, this is Imran, and today I'm going to start a course on Introduction to Operation Research. Operation Research is one of the fundamental courses in business studies, engineering, and in social sciences. This course is equally important for engineers as well as business graduates and the students working in social sciences and other areas of knowledge. To understand the operation research, I will just give you an idea about how do we make decision in our daily life. The answer is sometime we get expert opinion and sometime we make decision on the basis of gut feeling and sometime we have past experiences. And yes, sometime we have a knowledge. So these are the four fundamental ways to make decisions. And most of us make decisions using these four options. But do you think these four options are useful or give you an optimal decisions? Do you think that these methods are useful when you have enough data, when you have a data set, and then you make decisions on the basis of gut feeling? Is it justified? Not at all. For that, we go for some mathematical decision making processes. So, operation research deals with the different models and methods which are useful for making decisions on the basis of some logics, on the basis of some numbers, on the basis of some mathematical calculations. So in operation research, we will learn systematic way of making decisions. If you look at this diagram, the guy who is playing archery, what are his expectations? He want to hit the target. And the target is a central line. But when you play archery, it is not necessary that you will always hit the central line. Sometime arrow will hit around the center. Maybe it's away from the center. So same is true for the businesses. When you are operating a business, you try to minimize cost. You try to maximize the profit. So the central line in archery is optimal point. And the same is true for the businesses when we optimize the cost. The minimum possible cost that we incur in a business is an optimal cost, is an optimal point. The best possible output of any production system or any service system is an optimal yield. The best or maximum possible profit that we get from a business is the optimal point. And another point in this archery are called feasible points. If you look at the yellow circle, the central point is an optimal point. But if you move away from the central line, you will find some other points which shows these points are feasible but not optimal. Same is true for the red circle. If you look at the red circle, it is far away from the central line. We call it feasible, but this point is not an optimal point. So in operation research, we discuss different types of methods and tools which gives us optimal value of profit, which give us optimal value of cost, and which gives us optimal or the best value of the output that we set in the models. Operation research is also called management science. The management science is a scientific approach to solve management problems. In other words, management science is a systematic way of scientific way of solving problems. In some countries and in some institutes, management science is a substitute word for the operation research. Management science can be used in varieties of ways to solve the problem. Management science approach is logical approach to solve any business problem. So management science is also called operation research. Some authors say quantitative methods, and it is also called quantitative analysis, decision sciences, and operational analysis. Operation research is one of the fundamental curriculum of most of the programs in the world in the business schools. One of the famous schools for operation research in business domain is MIT, Georgia Tech, and some other famous disciplines and schools are offering this course. As I said before, that this course is equally important for business as well as engineering graduates. Operation research is also referred as management science, and because it is a scientific approach to decision making that seeks to the best design and operate system, usually under conditions requiring allocation of scarce resources. If we talk about the history of operation research were initiated in England during World War II. The team of British scientists set out to assess the best utilization of war material based on scientific principles. There was an extensive recruitment of scientists by British Army in Second World War, and they were assigned a task to effectively utilize the warfare materials. Then later on, this concept was used in other domains such as in Motorola, in Ford, in Toyota. Most of the companies also adopted to use operation research tools and techniques to manage their businesses. So in this session, we will discuss some of the application of operation research in real life. You can find application of operation research in every walk of life, including law, including social sciences, including manufacturing businesses, services businesses, military, manufacturing industry, agriculture industry, and real estate industry. In every walk of life, tools of operation management are helpful in making right decision and right choices. Let's try to understand the application of operation research in different domains. If we talk about military, in military, operation research is very helpful for planning and scheduling of armed forces. Which unit will be deployed at which site? What should be their routing plan? So these all planning is done using operation research. How they should schedule their war resources, how they should choose the target locations, what should be the routing and transportation of the soldiers during war or during peace, how to choose a right location for the camps so that they can save the country and destroy the enemies, and just optimal utilization of fighting equipment. Over the last decade, we have extensive application of preparation research in manufacturing companies as well. And most of the industrial engineers, production engineers, mechanical engineers, planning engineers are using OR tools to manage the industries. These days we call them data scientists, data analysts. They use different tools of operation research to solve the industrial problems. In manufacturing industry, we can use operation research in production planning and scheduling, in which we decide company what to produce, when to produce, what type of components are needed to make a product, what type of human resource is needed, what type of machinery is needed, and how different resources should be allocated to the different processes in manufacturing industry that is possible through the modeling and operation research. We also go for the workforce planning, which type of skill set is needed, and how those skilled people or employees should be assigned at different locations. We also discuss inventory optimization. Inventory can be of final products, it can be work in process, it can be buffer inventory, or it can be raw material inventory. Another strategy that is modeled through operation research model is layout design. We can use different types of layout. We can design different mathematical model to assess the different configuration of layouts, and we can choose the layout with minimum cost, with maximal flow, and the maximum profit to the firm. Productivity improvement, production time reduction, profit maximization, and work in process optimization can also be done using operation research, as it involves decision making. And decision making using mathematical model is done for the manufacturing industries. Most of the companies are using ERP softwares such as SAP, and those softwares are also integrated with operation research models. Whatever entries manufacturing companies do in that software, the software plays with the numbers and make decisions about the optimal profit that firm can gain from the using of ERP. And ERPs, on the back end of ERP, we have operation research models. Let's look at the service industry. Maybe you are looking at the hospitals. Yes, in hospitals, there is an application of operation research. But so far, let's discuss airlines. In airlines, operation research is helpful for scheduling the flights, for assigning passengers to the different seats. Sometimes we call it yield management. Maybe you have observed that there's a variation in airfare over the time. Let's say if you are planning for flight tomorrow, maybe you will find an expensive ticket. Maybe if you're planning flight for next 2 months, after 2 months or 3 months, maybe you will get a chance to get a cheap flight. The reason is every airline is trying to maximize their yield. They are trying to maximize their revenue, and that is done by offering competitive prices. Variation in prices affects the revenue, and they try to maximize the revenue by offering low prices during low demand periods. But when demand is higher, you will find very expensive air flights. Another application of operation research in airlines is route optimization. Every airline has its routing. Like we have roads for different vehicles, same is true for the air traffic. Air traffic has to follow a specific route, and they move on that route so that in order to avoid collisions. And sometimes you have observed there is a rush air traffic, so there is air traffic control. So in order to manage the air traffic, there we go for route optimization airlines, which helps us to schedule the airlines with least cost and on time service, quality service to the passengers. And also we can manage the queues using operation research. If we talk about the logistic and shipping industry, some of the application of operation research is route optimization, in which we try to find out the minimum route from the source to the destination by deciding the optimal route, by choosing an appropriate vehicle for shipping certain amount of product from one place to another place. Container loading optimization is another problem. So sometimes most of the shipping companies, when they load containers, the objective is to maximize the profit, and the profit can be achieved by loading maximum number of the products into a container. And different products offer different profit to the shipping companies. Sometimes we call it knapsack problem. Shipping and transportation schedule is another application of operation research in which different shipment schedule are created, transportation schedule are created, which vehicle will leave which depot and which vehicle will follow which route and when it will reach to the destination depot. Passengers and luggage assignment in case of local buses. And again, yield management is a revenue management. In the revenue management, the shipping companies try to gain maximum profit using different competitive strategies, keeping in mind their competitors. If we talk about the services industry, hospital is one of the fundamental service industry for us, especially for humans. Some of the application of operation research in hospital is surgery and operation scheduling, doctors and paramedical staff scheduling. This is one of the very critical and difficult scheduling problem when you deal healthcares, because sometimes doctors have critical patients, they have to allocate different wards, different operation theaters, they have limited number of surgeons, limited number of operation theaters, but they have more numbers of patients having critical situation. If this is the situation, then it becomes really difficult for healthcare administrations to assign wards to the different patients and assign surgeons to the different wards. This is very extensive problem which have been discussed by many authors, and the literature is available. You can just browse and see that how operation research is being used in healthcare. Ambulance route optimization, inventory management, allocation of doctors and nurses to the wards, emergency and OPD department patient planning is also in the category of operation research modeling. So we can use operation research models, linear programming models, non-linear programming models, simulation models to evaluate the performance of hospitals, and we can identify the bottlenecks or issues in the hospitals, and we can propose solutions by solving these problems using operation research models. Yeah, schools and colleges are some other examples of service industry where we can apply operation research, especially if we talk about university. Creation of timetable for university is one of the challenge for program department, because they have to manage the classrooms, they have to assign subjects to the teachers, and the teachers are assigned different rooms, which is again a complex problem, and it involves a very critical decision making, so that all classes have been assigned to the students, all subjects have been assigned to the teachers, and all teachers are getting the number of courses. So to make decisions, we can also use operation research. If we talk about banks, maybe you have found a longer queue in banks. So we can minimize the waiting time of customers in the bank by using operation research models. We can also minimize the transaction times. We can also focus on the layout design and layout design in banks using operation research model. These days, one of the hot topic or very famous service industry is a real estate industry. Real estate industry can also get benefit from the operation research experts, operation research analyst, data analyst, They can help real estate businesses to grow further. So these are the key decisions which are helpful using decision operation research model. For example, land allocation. In land allocations, for example, if you are starting a new housing society and you want to decide that how many plots should be plotted, how much area should be allocated to recreational facilities like schools, colleges, offices, and so on, so that they can get the maximum profit per square feet. So this type of decision making is also possible using operation research. Plot size optimization, road network optimization, facility maximization, and the resource utilization in real estate is also possible using operation research models. As we know that most of the developing countries rely on agriculture, so we can also use operation research in agriculture. For example, land use. When you have thousands of the acres of land and you cannot decide that which acre of land should be assigned which crop, so that you can maximize the yield or production of crops. If you can't do that, operation research will help you that for that. Using operation research model, you can assign different land to the different crops so that you can maximize the yield or profit from that land. Crop production planning and control, resource optimization, yield maximization, and yes, supply chain optimization of agriculture can also be optimized using operation research model. When we say supply chain optimization, usually a farmer harvests the crops, they ship those crops to the nearby processing plant. Processing plant converts those crops into the final products. Like say if we talk about sugarcane mills convert sugarcane into the sugar, and then sugar is shipped to the market, and then market uses consuming that consumes that sugar. So we can also model this entire supply chain using operation research model. So now let's start operation research. I just gave you an overview of operation research, that how it is useful and how we can use operation research in different walks of life, what type of problems in different areas of business or in our real life can be solved using operation research. So today let's start. What is operation research? What are different components or methods in operation research? So to understand the operation research in more detail, first of all, we need to understand the concept of system. A system, we mean an organization of interdependent components that work together to accomplish the goal of system. For example, Ford Motor Company is a system whose goal consists of maximizing the profit that can be earned by producing quality of vehicles. And the same is true for the different other manufacturing companies like Toyota, Hyundai, Samsung. So these are the manufacturing company. Sometimes we have a services system. Hospital is a healthcare system which provide different services. And to get the services of healthcare, we have to follow different steps. Step 1 is you just get registered, you wait for your service, you visit doctor, after getting service, you leave the system. So healthcare system as a service system. Retail store is a service system. Restaurant is a service as well as production system. In operation research, we try to translate that system into a model, into a mathematical model. To understand the mathematical model, let's try to understand what is the model. A model is a real representation of system. A model can be tangible and intangible. For example, if we take an example of architects, sometime when you construct a building, you get a 3D models which you can touch and you can feel that model is just like a building that we are going to construct. That is called physical model or tangible model. Another example of tangible model is dummy cell phones. If you're visiting a cell phone shop and you want to buy a cell phone, so shopkeeper will not open a new cell phone. Instead, he will show you a dummy. So that dummy is a model. And sometimes we call it prototype, which is a full functional model and it has some physical appearance. You can feel the aesthetic of that product by touching it. On another hand, we have another category of model which is called intangible models. Intangible models are further classified into three categories: mathematical model, simulation models, and graphical model. In this section or in this session, we will discuss mathematical model. In mathematical modeling, we try to translate real life problem into mathematics. We use some mathematical equations and we try to solve that problem. On another hand, simulation is imitation of real system. We just try to translate real system into the computer and then you can play with the system on computer rather than playing with the real system. And then the graphical, we use some visuals, graphs to explain the specific process. So in this course, we will discuss intangible model and especially we will be focusing on the mathematical modeling. To use mathematical model for decision making, one of the challenge we face in operation research is conversion of real system into the model. If you look at the picture, a guy carrying suitcase is a real system. But if you translate that man into a model, you will find a man in black color. So the model is an abstraction of real system. And that abstraction gives you the interpretation of the real behavior of a system. So one of the critical and the challenging job in operation research is conversion of real business problem into a mathematical model. So once we are done, then we can create a real decision making model using abstract image that is possible by converting real life problem into a mathematical model. Now let's try to understand operation research in more better way. And I will give you an example. Let's say you have $1,000. You got pocket money, right? You were just browsing on internet and you found an online store. You think that you have to buy a couple of things. You browse laptops, PlayStations, shoes, cell phone, shirt, tablet, and watch. When you see the prices of these products, you see that laptop is $450, PlayStation is $250, and other prices are listed in here. But you have $1,000. Can you buy all things? Your aim is to spend 1,000 and purchase as many as product you want. So you have listed down these 7 products and you want to buy, but you have a limited amount. So here you set a goal. Goal is to buy maximum number of products, but constraint is you have only 1,000 rupees or $1,000. So how you will manage this situation? Let's try to relate this real-time decision-making process with operation research. The first of all, you set the goal. Your goal is to buy maximum items. But you have limited saving. You have just $1,000 in your pocket and you want to buy 7 items. Is it possible? Not exactly, because of limited saving. So you can choose few of them which are more important for you. So issues in achieving goal is limited saving, and decision that you will make is selection of items, that which item you're going to choose. And the parameters are available budget and the cost of items. So on the basis of these parameters, on the basis of cost that different products are offering, you can choose the very required product for with your pocket money, and then you will purchase it. So if we try to understand, so again, if you look at your pocket money, so pocket money is $1,000 and you have to buy multiple products. So in this case, you cannot make decision. You are indecisive. Considering this real life scenario, you set a goal, you have limited saving, and you want to buy a maximum items. We can construct this situation into the mathematical model. To convert this mathematical model, we need to understand the component of mathematical model. Component of any mathematical model in operation research are same as the component of decision making. In decision making, we have an objective or goal. In operation research, we call it objective function. In real life, we have alternatives. In operation research, we call them decision variables. In real life, we have a problem, issues. In operation research, we call them constraints. In real life, we see so many factors like cost of tablet, cost of cell phone. In operation research, we call these factors as a parameters. Parameter is something whose values is given to you. We know the value of parameters. And then we have a set of constraints. Those constraints are the problems that we face. So in fact, in decision making process, we convert entire business problem into a mathematics. So this conversion is an art, and the solution to the problem is a science. Therefore, there is a debate on operation research whether it is arts or science. So the answer is operation research is both science and art. So if it is science, then what are the different steps which can be followed to get the optimal results? So these are some steps of scientific method. First of all, we observe the problem, we define the problem, we model the problem, and then we solve the problem, and then we implement the problem. And before implementation, we go for some managerial decision analysis. You can create different scenarios. You can evaluate different possibilities. You can go for what if analysis, and then we can easily implement the solution that would minimize cost or it would maximize the profit. So if you look at the steps, the first two steps like observation and problem definitions, these are more art because we are gathering data, We are trying to understand the dynamic of problem, nature of problem, and then we think about how we can convert that problem into mathematics. So these first two steps are art. However, model construction, model solution, and implementations are science. A question arises among your mind that what is a job for operation research experts? So you can find different job titles for operation researchers. Some of them are business manager, operation research analyst, business data analyst, data scientist, business intelligence expert, and artificial intelligence expert. So if you find some titles, it means that you are fit for that job. So you can apply. So that's all for this session. So in upcoming session, we will discuss the component of decision making, and then we will start the linear programming. We will start with a real life business problem, and then we will try to solve that problem using linear programming. Please stay tuned and follow updates. Thank you.